Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Lancescurv. While I pride myself on getting up very early in the morning, more like 4 o'clock every morning, I've started to lean towards staying up late at night. And I don't know why. You know what it is? I think it's because I've been taking naps in the daytime. But my sleep pattern is like so all over the place, but I always feel saturated with good rest. That's the main important thing. Lots of times I'm out here on this balcony. This is one of my favorite balconies. It's the most private. No, it's not the most private one. The other one on the other side of the house is like, you can go out there, you see nothing because the walls are high. But there's something about sitting out here and looking over the mountain behind me. It's so relaxing, and I love it. And because of that, I'm talking so much, my voice is getting raspy. I really don't give my voice a rest. Like I do all these shows and stuff, and then like a lot of phone calls and so bear with me on that. Maybe it's an old man thing, I don't know. But I was in a very deep conversation via voicemail, which I do a lot of conversations like that. And it's with a dear, my most dearest sister. We talk every single day. And the conversations are so deep. And we support each other that way. Very creative person, very dynamic person, very well-driven person, and one of the most pure hearts that you've ever want to see. And I mean that. And I think she kind of feels the same about me. But we have a perpetual conversation that it never stops. It's like we pick up where we left off, or if we see something online and we share it and we talk about it. I'm telling you, a lot of my ideas are stimulated and extracted by what she shares with me. I call it verbal plagiarism. But this conversation we have to share, right? Maybe not every single detail, but the bottom line is that most people, they get to feel down sometime. And we spoke about that because the both of us being creative people, although her level in the world is way up, right? But it's the same DNA. And when you're a creative person and you love creativity, no matter what the genre, no matter what the category, you demand a lot of yourself and from yourself. You want to keep churning out good stuff. You want to meet deadlines. You want to come up with new ideas all the time. And that's how I am, whether you see me online or not, because there's different lanes that I'm in. And even in the building of this house, there's a lot more icing to put on the cake and a lot of decisions to make, and you want to make things, may I say it, perfect. Even though nothing's perfect, and you can say I'm a perfectionist, but I'm one who's a realist also. So I've grown with that because I used to always, before, be a perfectionist. And I still strive for perfection. But the bottom line is that when you expect so much out of yourself, right? You feel let down when you don't hit that epitome of what you know you have inside of you. You feel down when you don't hit the pinnacle because you know you got it inside of you. You know you have those signature moments inside of you that you can execute, not because you want attention in the world, but because you know you have this thing inside of you and you want to offer the best to the world, right? Now, there's a lot of moths that are attracted to these lights. If something big flies around and you see me duck, I'm not taking it out of this particular clip. That being said, the peaks, and this is not manic depressive or any kind of bipolar type of thing. This is what creative people go through, right? Whether you're a painter or an actor or a screenwriter or just somebody who has a hobby that likes to do a garden and arrange it a certain way. Whatever creative endeavor that you're involved in, right? So the peaks, the moments where you say, I nixed it, I got it, this just came out the way that I wanted. That's such a high. Even if the world doesn't acknowledge it, when you have this feeling in your heart that you achieved what it is creatively that you wanted to achieve, you feel so good. But sometimes, and I will say most times, and I will say all the time, this is a high energy endeavor. So you have to have everything right. Even before you create, you have to have your mind right. You have to be in a still place. Even if it's madness going on around you, you have to have that part of yourself to yourself to manifest what you see in your vision, to bring about what you see in your download, your creative download, right? And sometimes you will get physically exhausted. Sometimes you'll be disconnected from that source that's within you, maybe because something happened and you didn't realize it, or maybe it's the accumulation of other things that got in your way. And it's like going out in the morning time to go on the weekend to go shopping to the supermarket, to the mall, or during the week or your week when you're going to work and you put that key in the ignition and it's and you know, oh God, please. And you know your whole day has changed. You ain't going nowhere no time soon. Then you start to think, how much is this going to cost me? Oh, this is unexpected. I got to call into work. Or if you had a lunch date or a breakfast date, you had to call in for that. Your whole day has changed. The same thing can happen in a very invisible way with creative people when they can't get their mojo going. And that's a frustrating place to be because you're used to riding high. You're used to these peaks of achievement, the peak of satisfaction. Again, it's not for attention, but the bottom line is for your own personal satisfaction. That's what I do stuff for. Even me losing the old channel, it was a blessing in disguise because this one's not shadow banned. I can sell stuff on this one. And I'm the one who created it. And I salvage most of those videos anyway on this channel. So you always look at the good, but sometimes you're in a valley. Not much, but when you're that driven person who's motivated, when you hit the valley, it feels like something really deep. And that's not a good feeling because days can go by and you have this thing in you. Just like when you're trying to start up the ignition, and it's not connecting. What gives? 2 days go by, 3 days go by, 4 days go by. What's wrong with me? Or you, when you say this, when you are that type of person, because you're high energy, your brain goes faster than most, you're very creative, and you produce. You don't just copy other people and just present yourself and just talk a few words. Your mind is going on so many different ways. And I've always been this way. No matter what endeavor or category or genre I was in, when I apply myself, I'm in it for keeps. This is not a show. This is how I am. My father and mother taught me to be that way. But it's in me already, but they taught me how to face it and perfect it. That the satisfaction is for you. When I won that particular bodybuilding championship in 1982, you know, you see the picture. If you don't know the picture, go to Lancescurv.com, scroll down, you'll see me. That was how many years ago? 42 years ago? That was a very, very satisfying moment because I trained my butt off for the whole year. Really and truly a year and a half. And I had a lot to prove. Not only to the world, but to myself and to the naysayers. And I won. And that thing followed me for the rest of my life because it was drug-free, no enhancements, no substances, no nothing. Not knocking the guys who do, but it's hard the other way. So if I can change how my limbs look, my body weight, my body fat, you know, training, grinding hard, that's still in me. Those victories and those peaks in the high of receiving all of those trophies. Best poser, most muscular, best legs, best chest, best abs, and a 6-foot trophy. For a 19-year-old, been working hard like that for 6 years to get to that point, that never leaves you. You don't want the valleys, but you sometimes have to deal with it. And what I've found personally, to avoid that feeling, because you're going to have valleys when you're a creative person. But always, while you're doing what you're doing in the present, always have that next goal in the forefront. Not right in your face to take you away and distract you from what you're doing right in your face, at hand, the task at hand. But you have to have that next thing so that when you achieve the victory of creating what you're creating, right? You will feel, or you will revel in it for a while. But there's always like, okay, what's next? And if you don't have a what's next, I've found that that's an easy way to fall into the valley. Because when you start to admire what you just achieved for so long, well, not too long, but you have a week or so, I achieved this, whatever. For me, as soon as I achieve maybe a drawing or writing an article or doing a video, I'm on to the next one. I don't really want to be friends with that thing anymore. I loved it, it came through me, but now it's on to the next one. But I understand when you're in an industry where what you put out there and what you achieve, even though you know it's good, when you depend on others to finance it or put it out there, that could be a bummer. See, what I do is different than what a lot of other people do because I completely control it. So I go at my own pace, which is usually very swift for other people. I like to churn out a lot of content, whether it's on, everything's on the website, Lancescurv.com, more and more. I got some real goodies coming for you really, really soon because I have that next thing that's dangling in front of me. But no matter how you get to the valley from the peak, I want to tell you what was told to me in a conversation last night. That you may be in a valley, feeling low, feeling like you're not achieving, you're not doing or living up to your full potential. But guess what? Your valley may be the next person's peak. You didn't hear me. Your valley just might be the next person's peak, meaning that you may feel so low on yourself because you haven't maintained your level of expertise and high frequency. But the person who sees your valley as a peak can't even see your peaks. That you're feeling low on yourself. But for them, your low is a high for them. Isn't that something? Isn't that interesting? And at one point, possibly, your present valleys of feeling bad about yourself because you're not on the level that you know yourself to be, that was at one time a peak. But we forget about those valleys sometime. And we start riding high, which is a good thing. But understand that no matter what level you're on, that even your peak is somebody else's valley. And it's a never-ending volley of climbing and climbing. So I understand that. So when you do feel that you're in the valley, it's not the end. And there are people that when you are in your valley, not the ones that you don't know, but some who are fraudulently in your inner circle, they say, oh, he's in a valley. He's not going to be able to do what he does. But before, let me make sure, let me put negative words in their head, in your head, to keep you from knowing in yourself that you hit the peaks before. And with your valley, you will never sink any lower. You can only go up. You can only go up. And just like the phoenix rising from the ashes, when you get yourself together, in tune, it doesn't mean that anything is wrong with you. It may be an accumulation of fatigue, that's your body or your mind saying, hey, let's rest. I'm not going to let you go anywhere right now. You're going to rest. And this is not a valley. But you think it's a valley because you can't go on and grind like you want to keep going on and grinding. I've had to learn that. Because I'm a humble dude. Doesn't take much to maintain me. But I'm like a sports car. I'm like a Lamborghini. I don't have to apologize for that. And those who know me know that. You might roll over and look at me in the middle of the night if you happen to have ever slept with me. That's a funny thing to say, right? And you'll look and I might be wide awake, thinking about something, righteously scheming on something. An idea hit me last night out of my sleep. And I had to get up and write it down. And after I wrote it down, I said, you know, I got to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom. And after I went to the bathroom, I said, well, since I'm up, let me go to the computer and see if I can play around on a technological level to make this theory work. And it did. And I looked to the sky, and the sky was dark, but it was getting a little lighter. I'd been up for 2 hours. I said, you know what? I don't want the sun to catch me up. I had to play like a vampire. I went right back to bed. But with the free time that I have, with nothing else to do, except indulge myself in the creative juices that flow through me, it's a pleasure and a blessing to have made it this far. And I give my life to my creative endeavors in a way that can inform, in a way that can motivate, in a way that people can think and say, So long after I'm gone from this level, maybe some of these things might stick around, but the energy given out is never forgotten. And see, I understand this. So even those of you who may lose a channel that you've been working on for years, understand the energy that was shared with other people. It's still in their heart, and that's something that nobody can take away. You can't see the stars, really. A few clouds up here, because the clouds are not up, the clouds are sideways. And I'm surprised it's not cloudy right now. Not foggy, but cloudy. But when you think of the stars, when we look up, we're seeing starlight or lights from stars so far away that the star is gone, but the light continues on. Your karma is still coming to you from the good works that you did or from the wicked things that you did, whether it's there as evidence or not. That's why I always say, wait till the end of the year, that all that I've ever done culminated in something wonderful that I have to remain zipped about. And it's going to blow people's minds. So even sometime you feel that you're in a valley, you're just put there for a time to rest, to recollect yourself, rest yourself. Not that your mind is not right, but sometimes our mind can become unhinged. And that's not good. So, for me in this atmosphere, I hear nothing but crickets. And I never lived in a concrete home before, behind a concrete wall. But I don't hear anything. And with outside being so quiet, could you imagine? I'm out. But here it is also, as an addendum in that conversation. I'm not going to linger on that part too long, but it's a necessary part. It's like a good dessert after a 5-course meal, the masterpiece of a meal, where you just have to sit back and go, oh my God, this meal was good. We also spoke about living up to what we have inside of us. What do I mean by that? In life, there are times on a job, in a group, where you might want to say something. And because of the eclectic mix of the people around you, you're not really able to say it because you want to come out with force, because you know you're this firebrand, you're this person with this energy, and you see the truth so clear, but you see somebody else who may not be able to process this thing as you put it out. And guess what? Got to kind of hold back for the greater good of the group. But that feels like you're compromising yourself, because you know you're put here to do right as you see it. But because the way the world is, and censorship and sexual harassment, I'm not saying anything sexual, I'm just saying that we have to walk on eggshells oftentimes. And we can't really be in that Lamborghini that we are, or that Maserati that we are, or that sports car that we are, that Corvette, and hit the pedal to the metal like we know we can. Because the speed limit may not allow us to, even though we know we can break it. But we might end up with a violation. And that's the way the world is. And that can make us feel sometimes that we're not doing as we should, but yet and still. We admire the firebrands. We admire the Malcolm X's. We admire the Muhammad Ali's. We admire the Marcus Garveys and all of our sisters also. Too much to name, who went 100%. But when you go 100%, there may be penalties for that. See, you can come out in the first round of a boxing match and say the boxing match is 12 rounds. And you can ball up your fists and you can try to knock the head off of your opponent. But then you realize by the time the second round is in front of you, oh man, I spilled out all the energy out my gas tank. I'm a little tired. I think I got 2 or 3 more rounds in me, but I shot my load in the first round. So there are penalties for that. Now you're going to be on the defensive a lot. You have to conserve your energy. So when you can't really expound the way you want in this world of restrictions, it hurts you because you see the truth and everybody or most people don't see it. And those who know it, who are in control, are waiting for you to say something so they can get rid of you. Are you a sellout? Don't you ever think so. Because like that strategic plan in the boxing match, you have to give off your energy and know that you have a 12-round fight. If it ends early and you have a chance for a knockout, do it, but don't look for it. It's better to stay in the game. Because so many of us who were looked at as great and who were looked at as the revolutionaries, they're not here anymore. So if you're not going at 100% and you're going at 75 or even 50% because of the environment that you're in, you live to fight another day. You have to think of it that way, because the enemy is now seeking out those who have the light of truth inside of them. And they don't like you. You can look at them and they can look at you and they know the light that you have. Because many people, and it's a term I want to start using because my dear sister introduced it to me. Most people out here in the world, they can say their name, they can go to the toilet, they can eat the meal, they can go to the shower, take care of themselves and put on perfume and cologne, go to a job and repetitiously complete tasks or whatever, but a lot of them are hollow. They don't have any light. They may not be bad people, don't get me wrong, but they may not have any light. And their souls, if they have one, I'm not saying most people, but there are so many people in the world today that have no soul. Haven't you noticed? Back in the day, more people had soul. I'm not going to say it's because they took the soul out of the music and broadcasted it at a different frequency. But people that you met had an energy about them that was so larger than life. You remember the characters? If you have a bit of age on you, I'm not saying age like you're old, but chronological years, where you can go back a few decades and you look back at the old neighborhood and the people, the old men, they had swag, they had the gift of gab, and they were funny to be around. The pretty girls were just so prettier and innocent. The grandmothers and the mothers in the neighborhood were the mothers of everybody in the neighborhood, and you better tip your hat and show respect to each and every one of them. Even if they went down to the number spot, even if they went to the liquor store, that's your mother when your mother wasn't around. You better respect her like your mother. We had more soul and we had more connectedness, but people today, they're hollow, like maggots. I'm not trying to put anybody down. They only want the creature comforts. They want to eat, they want to sleep, they want to go to the bathroom and doo-doo and pee-pee, they want to have sex and have a good cum, knock out, repeat the process, and give me the money. I don't want to work for it, just let me get money. Let's take the easiest way. Especially some of us black folks. We're worse than electricity, taking the shortest route possible from point A to point B. Even then, back in the day, we had a job and we had a hustle. And the hustle may not have been something illegal, but come on now, every neighborhood or hood or projects or had a candy lady. Oh, the store's closed, but I want some candy. I'm gonna go by the candy lady. There was always that woman who did hair in her house. Like my old girlfriend did in my house, even though she had jobs and ran a salon eventually. She still brought people home and did some extra weaves and finger waves, and I learned all that stuff too. That's another story. But we were happy doing it. And we were more loving to each other. But we've been gutted and stripped. We're now hollow. It's almost like you get the nice refrigerator and you put it in position and you open up the door of the fridge and the lights don't come on. You open up the freezer, it's not cold. You put your food in there and it spoils. Well, you wouldn't do that. You want to know why it's not working. But check this out. You look in the back, it's not plugged in. It's not connected. See, we're not connected with each other, and we lost the connectedness to the divine. And we're hollow. And many of us don't understand that even if we're not operating at 100% like the Malcolm X's and the Marcus Garveys and all of our sisters and everybody in the movement, in whatever movement from their race, nationality, or ethnicity, because we're not the only people in this world. It doesn't mean that you're less, because we need those people who may not vibrate the highest. And I'm not saying they're playing it safe because they're scared, but they know that if they stand up all the way, they're going to get shot down. Not literally with a gun, and oftentimes also too. But they will be attacking you mostly in a financial way. Take your money. Get you away from that job and that position. Blackball you so that even with your own thing that you do, nobody comes to you. Right? So you're needed. You know why you're needed? Because there are a faction of people on this earth that Kanye West had a problem with. And guess what? They tried to go after his money. They tried to go after him. And they can do that. You know why? Because those people, as a people, they may have their own internal conflicts, but at the end of the day, they're on code. They own the banks. They own the entertainment industry. They own political power and are in strategic positions to make decisions, major decisions, while we bicker and argue and bitch about the little statuses in the hoods and who has a better car or a bigger house or who can get more hits on TikTok and who foolish little things that mean nothing. So you who are not vibrating at the 100% that you know you can vibrate because you pull it back a little bit to survive in this highly sensitive environment and atmosphere, you are to be applauded because it is you amidst all of the low vibrational people who should try to be at least 50, 60, 70% to not get spotted, because we don't have advantage in this world right now, because right now we have a lack of unity. All the money we have in America and spend as a people, and we're in this position. Where are our banks? There might be one or two banks that we say that we own, but we don't have true power. Those people got power. And they can say whatever they want because they're always going to have a home, a job, a position, and backup. But we want our people to stand up in the revolution and be on the front line and amp them up to speak truth to power. And those very people, when they turn around, they don't see any one of us. We hiding behind the tree, scared of the fate of that one who committed to sacrificing himself or herself for you. So for those who stand up, let's just say they're vibrating at 100%, knowing that they're going to eventually get taken down. Let us. And I'm going to compare this to basketball. We're on the court. I don't know basketball that much, but let's say LeBron James or Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson, whatever area you come from. At least I know that much. But LeBron James cannot be LeBron James all by himself. You say, well, what do you mean by that, SCURV? Well, he needs somebody to pass him the ball. If you're that person who's vibrating at 50%, but you want to be that LeBron James, but you know for the greater good of the whole team, LeBron James will deliver that ball into the hoop, you support him by passing him the ball. You'll get a few hoops in if it's obvious that you're close by and you get the ball in your hand. But we got to be willing to support each other more on all levels, morally, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, financially. When you know that that person you're supporting is the real thing, right? So we know on the basketball court of life, the LeBron Jameses of the world. I am closely connected to many who are banned off of social media. And really and truly, I'm walking a tightrope on a windy day. Because these entities are looking to do away with anybody who has that light, and they know they have that light, and they have a history of saying things that's on their mind, and they're shrewd in how they communicate those things. The minute you slip up, they're on you. Have you ever seen those movies where it's a small southern hick town, not much going on, probably 3 or 4 police on a whole force, one stoplight in the whole town. One of those cops is also the judge and the jury. So you get a ticket and you look up and see the judge. Aren't you the person that gave me the ticket? It's him, right? This is how it is in our world. And when you are that person who is known for certain things, when they spot you, they already know. You don't even have to go over the speed limit. You never had to steal anything or do anything bad. But when they see your light and they have you tabbed and tagged, they're going to come after you regardless. Just because, right? You come from the big city, New York City, and you used to steal cars. And now you move to a small hick town down in the South. Trust me, they're going to let them know what you do. And the first sign of you stealing vehicles, or anybody, or any vehicle, being stolen, they're going to knock on your door, and you may have had nothing to do with it, just because of your reputation alone. And that's the way it's getting now on social media. Communications. We won't be able to say anything. How can I say it? A law, a bill, something has been recently passed, and I have to brush up on my facts. I'm going to come back with another video on that tomorrow, that allows different agencies in the government to make the various social media platforms take down what they call misinformation. So for me, when I see something that's factual and want to inform someone on it, if the powers that be deem it to be misinformation, they can take it down, they can erase me. So I'm going to frame everything that I do as far as now to the future is opinion and commentary, and just my opinion on it. And I'm going to make a disclaimer, not tomorrow, maybe the day after, and put it up. I'm not claiming this to be fact, but this is my opinion. And I will be speaking in a coded way because I want to remain here and continue to get the peaks of performance with the various talents that I have, because I'm not just a video talking head. I have this peace and quiet now to do my artwork, to write my articles. There's so many other things that I will be doing. I'm going to take a room here and get some weights and work out and go for a run and go. I just finished eating some bananas that I picked out in the backyard, but I'm going to focus because there's no distractions. So now maybe I will fall into a few valleys of exhaustion. But you know what? With my experience over the years, you can take videos, you can't take experience. Let's get ready, buckle your seatbelts, and get ready for the ride. Because what's coming is going to be phenomenal. You know why? because it's in my heart and in my head, and I have the time, what little time I have. We have to do the job and our mission at hand. I have no time to play. I have no time to scroll endlessly through different videos and foolishness and all that. It's dead serious for me. Even though I'm a comedian, I make things in joke form. I'm on a mission and you can't compromise me.
You'll be back for more. Lancescurv.com. Bold, raw, and uncut.
So, my friend, take it for what it's worth. Your heaven and your hell is right here on this earth.